Some have tried to argue that this case is far worse than the case of General David Petraeus, who was convicted in 2015 of knowingly and intentionally compromising highly classified information. In fact, one very vocal politician we all know said this, and I quote, "If she isn't indicted, the only reason is because the Democrats are protecting her." She is being protected 100%, because you look at General Petraeus, you look at all the other people that did a fraction of what she did, but she has much worse judgment than he had, and she's getting away with it, and it's unfair to him, end of quote. Director Comey, you were the director of the FBI when General Petraeus pled guilty, is that right?
Yes.
If I understand that case correctly, General Petraeus kept highly classified information in 8 personal notebooks at his private residence, is that correct?
That is correct.
According to the filings in that case, his notebook included the identities of covert officers. They also included war strategy, intelligence capabilities, diplomatic discussions, quotes and deliberative discussions from high-level National Security Council meetings, and discussions with the president. General Petraeus shared his information with his lover and then biographer. He was caught on audio tape telling her, and I quote, "I mean, they are highly classified, some of them. They don't have it on it, but I mean, there's code word stuff in there," end of quote. Director Comey, what did General Petraeus mean when he said he intentionally shared, quote, code word information with her? What does that mean?
The Petraeus case, to my mind, illustrates perfectly the kind of cases the Department of Justice is willing to prosecute. Even there, they prosecuted him for a misdemeanor. In that case, you had vast quantities of highly classified information, including special sensitive compartmented information. That's the reference to code words. Vast quantity of it, not only shared with someone without authority to have it, but we found it in a search warrant hidden under the insulation in his attic, and then he lied to us about it during the investigation. So you have obstruction of justice, you have intentional misconduct, and a vast of information. He admitted he knew that was the wrong thing to do. That is a perfect illustration of the kind of cases that get prosecuted. In my mind, it illustrates, importantly, the distinction to this case.
And General Petraeus did not admit to these facts when the FBI investigators first interviewed him, did he?
No, he lied about it.
But he did admit to these facts in a plea agreement, is that correct?
Yes.
Here's what the department filing said about General Petraeus, and I quote, "The acts taken by defendant David Petraeus were in all respects knowing and deliberate, and were not committed by mistake, accident, or other innocent reason," end of quote. Is that an accurate summary in your view, Director Comey?
Yes, it actually leaves out an important part of the case, which is the obstruction of justice.
Was he charged with obstruction of justice?
No.
And why not?
A decision made by the leadership of the Department of Justice not to insist upon a plea to that felony.
So the question is, do you agree with the claim that General Petraeus, and I quote, got in trouble for far less, end of quote? Do you agree with that statement?
No, it's the reverse.
And what do you mean by that?
His conduct, to me, illustrates the categories of behavior that mark the prosecutions that are actually brought. Clearly intentional conduct, knew what he was doing was a violation of the law. Huge amounts of information that even if you couldn't prove he knew it, it raises the inference that he did it. Right? An effort to obstruct justice. That combination of things makes it worthy of a prosecution. A misdemeanor prosecution, but a prosecution nonetheless.
Sitting here today, do you stand by the FBI's recommendation to prosecute General Petraeus?
Oh, yeah.
Do you stand by the FBI's recommendation not to prosecute Hillary Clinton?
Oh, yes.
Director Comey, how many times have you testified before Congress about the General Petraeus case? Do you know?
I don't think I've ever testified. I don't think I've testified about it at all. I don't think so.
With that, I'll yield back.